Welcome to another edition of Mission to Bank Memories as we celebrate 25 seasons of Condors hockey. And our second netminder between the pipes joins us here for our Mission Bank memory. That, of course, the man to my right, Joe Watkins. And Joe, first off, born in the UK, what brought you to Bakersfield and to Condors Town? I can't imagine Bakersfield, California was ever on the map over in the UK when you were growing up.
No, not really, but it's really turned out to be a blessing. I was playing professionally in the United Kingdom and playing for the national team, and a friend of Marty Raymond's coached the national team, and those two spoke and offered me a job, and the rest is history. Here I am. So
what'd you think when you first arrived here in Condors Town back in 2003?
It was interesting. It was definitely different. We didn't get per diem. They gave us hometown buffet vouchers, which was kind of a shock to the system. But no, I really enjoyed my year here, and the blessing that came out of it all is I'm still here now. I met my wife Jenny, who's we're still together. We got 4 wonderful children: Spencer, Sophie, Sutton, and Savannah, and it's really worked out for the best.
What's that been like post-career for yourself? Obviously, just the 1 year here in Bakersfield. You went on to play back in the UK for a couple of years after that, but come back here and really make your life here in Bakersfield.
Yeah, I told Jenny when we got married that I wanted to play for a few more years and then we'd retire wherever she wanted to be. And she's a hometown Bakersfield gal, and this is definitely home for us now. It's been a lot of fun. 4 kids keep me busy between baseball, dance, volleyball, everything else, like gymnastics, everything else that goes with it. Being fortunate enough to do reasonably well in my professional life now, and business is good, so it's all going well.
You mentioned, earlier off camera, you coaching as well too, or coaching at least through the years as well. What's that like? Kind of being on the opposite end. You're not a player, but you're able to coach your kids. And how nervous do you get as a coach as opposed to just being dad?
It definitely gives you an insight into what your parents go through. My dad used to struggle to watch me play goal. I used to wonder why he'd leave in the middle of a game. I'm not quite as bad as him, but I coach my 10-year-old, and it's fun to see. And he's a good kid, good attitude, and that makes it easy for me to do that, to coach him. But it's a lot of fun, and helping the kids in baseball and grow as young men and be good athletes. That's what it's all about.
You talk about the growth, and we'll talk a little bit more about the growth of the game here in Bakersfield. But you have a pretty cool story, because obviously, there are only so many professional, hockey players that have made it, to the ECHL, AHL, NHL from the UK. And one of those is Brendan Perlini, born over there with his dad Fred, playing in the UK for a number of years. Obviously played for the Condors as well too. How cool is that to see a kid that you knew back in the day play here in Bakersfield all those years later?
Yeah, it was really cool to see, and he's done obviously very well for himself. And I coached him when he was 8 or 9 years old back in England, when his dad was just finished playing over there. And
he was the Wayne Gretzky of England.
He was a pretty good 9-year-old, that's for sure. He did good, and obviously getting drafted where he did and playing the NHL is pretty impressive. So I'm pleased for he's done good.
You talk about memories, and we celebrate 25 years this year. What memories do you have from your on ice or from that season being here in Bakersfield?
It's not just one thing that sticks out. Kind of just little things I remember now. It's been quite a while. I do remember that they liked to play Beatles songs during the games when I was playing. Obviously, we're all everyone from England knows the Beatles, And then I do remember Jonas Lennartson and I leaving the Rock and Rodeo one night at a little after midnight, 1 o'clock, and with my girlfriend at the time, now my wife. We mentioned that it was January, I think, and we hadn't even been to the beach, and we lived in California. So Jonas, being the genius that he is, he said, "Well, let's go." Well, thankfully, my wife hadn't been drinking, so she was on board, and we drove to the beach, went to Pismo. Jonas and I went for a quick swim at 4 o'clock in the morning, drove back, and had practice at like 8 o'clock. So.
How was that practice the next day?
You'd have to ask Marty Raymond now. So probably not the best.
And you're part of a big alumni network, you know, not only here in Bakersfield, but around the country. I think everyone kind of takes great pride in being a Condor, whether you were, you know, a WCHL Condor, an ECHL Condor, an AHL Condor. There's kind of that bond. What's that like for you, being here in Bakersfield with, you know, a dozen or so guys who, you know, wore the sweater here in Condorstown?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't here and as a legend like some of the guys up on the wall, you know, Glenn and Paul Rosebush, but I see the guys around town, and in business, actually, we often cross paths frequently. Glenn and I do quite often, so that's really cool, and I know a lot of them still skate. I don't do that anymore. My knees don't allow it, but it's pretty cool to see everyone around town. And Bakersfield's a really great sports town, and I've grown to love it. Living here, it's, you know, I've lived a lot of places in the world, and Bakersfield's a pretty cool city.
One final one, you mentioned, you know, Bakersfield being a cool city, Bakersfield being a sports town. Did you think back in 2003 it would become what it is today, and you see guys here playing, you know, AHL hockey, going on and signing multi-million-dollar deals in the NHL, and I mean, we had an NHL All-Star this year with Stuart Skinner between the pipes. Leon Draisaitl won the Hart Trophy a couple of years ago. I mean, this is pretty crazy to think they were right here in Bakersfield.
Yeah, it is pretty cool to see, you know, the high draft picks that come here, and then within a year or two, they're up making impact in the NHL. You know, we didn't quite make the money they made, but it was a good time, and really, minor league hockey, everyone in their early 20s is just trying to do the best they can do, and it's a really good experience. And Bakersfield fans, they get into the game, and then, you know, it was always fun to play here.
Joe, we appreciate the time. Thanks for doing this, and look forward to seeing you out there. It's been another edition of Mission to Bank Memories. For more with Joe and the rest of our Condors alumni, head to our YouTube page, condors.tv. I'm Ryan Holt. We'll catch you next time.